Hey, what is going on guys, it's Loha. I'm doing another replay analysis today, this time of Kenfrost, who I did in a 1v1 before, quite a long time ago. This is the first replay analysis I've done in a while. He got his done by letting me know in my Discord server that he wanted to have it done. So if you want me to analyse a replay, just join my Discord server and let me know. Kenfrost is around Diamond 3. In this replay he is called Kajaboom231, but this is Kenfrost. So this is a Diamond 3 3v3 game. This replay analysis is going to go a little bit different because I've already looked through this replay and made notes on it. So hoping to make this a little bit more efficient and quick, so the video is a bit more engaging for you guys. But let's get straight into this replay. Right, so here's our first issue. You're going up for this ball here. It is firstly quite risky because you have 12 boost. That guy is already up, so the chances of you getting there before him are actually pretty low, and you may just get completely beaten and your teammate in goal might end up not saving it. So if he hits this here, which luckily for you he doesn't, or he gets a bad start in his aerial and he sort of misses the ball, it's a bit weird. But he could have been there way before you and just got it way over you. So a better thing to do in that situation would be just to go straight back and just pretty much let him do that. Just go back into goal, help your teammates out, pick up a few boost pads. Right, so in this situation we can see Zakastician, whatever his name is, I'm just going to call him Zach. We can see Zach rotating back behind you onto the right side. So he's essentially signalling that you can push up. He's got the right side, the back right side covered. So what you want to be doing here is sort of moving up, but a bit more on the left side, because Zach has already got the right side covered. So the left side is the side that is unprotected. So if this 50-50 goes left, which it does, if you rotated up to the left, you could have been ready for that ball, you could have beaten them way to it, and you could have started an offense. So yeah, in that situation, one simple thing to remember is be ready for what your teammates aren't ready for. So your teammate behind you is ready for a ball that comes right, so you need to be ready for one that comes left. And a good explanation of this is found in Jake's video on rotations. He's the coach of Pro Team TSM, so I'll link that video in the description. You might find that quite useful. Go watch that after this. Right, so in this situation, you quickly turned. I say quickly, but probably quicker than you maybe should have, and you went up for this. You were rotating back into goal. What's his name? Trigger Happy was just coming into goal. Zach was ready for this. This wasn't really your ball, and if your teammates weren't ready for this, it would have been perfectly acceptable for you to cut it, so long as you hit the ball, of course, which you didn't. But if your teammate wasn't there, it would have been absolutely fine for you to cut it. But he was, which you clearly weren't aware of. I'm assuming you didn't use your analog stick here. But what you could have done is just a very quick right movement with your analog stick to check if your teammates were in goal. You can see they are, and they were both ready to go up for this ball, which is why you ended up double committing. So if you'd done a quick check with your analog stick, you would have seen that your teammates ready to go for that, so you could have kept rotating back into goal and let your teammates go, instead of causing a double commit, wasting a bunch of boost and causing some confusion. Right, the next thing to talk about here, just after that time where you missed the ball, you've started to rotate back because Zach's on the ball, Trigger Happy's going up, but for some reason the replay's glitched and you can't see the boost that's next to Zach, but there is a boost there and you're going for it. You don't need this boost, you already have 50 boost. There's a bunch of little boost pads you can collect. Just by going on the lane down your right, you can see 3 or 4 boost pads. You can rotate back into goal or just back past the halfway line. You can pick them up on your way. Instead what you do is you go for this boost pad, and then you try and turn and go for the ball in a very awkward position, and you kind of can't make a good play on it, and you end up confusing your teammates and yourself. So in this situation, don't go for this boost. Go back, pick up the boost pads down that lane, and then turn back around. So here, this is where you get scored on for the first time. The ball is heading away from you, and Shuttle is coming up on the ball. He's going to beat you to this. You start boosting quite late, shuttle is going to beat you to it. So instead of trying to go for it, you have a couple of options, I think, in this situation. Either you push it more early, so you start boosting here, like before you did, start boosting here, and then you can beat him to it. You can also do a sort of diagonal left flip, because chances are, as you can see, his car is on the other side of the ball, so he's going to try and hit it left past you, towards your goal. If you did a diagonal dodge to the left, and started boosting a bit early, you would have been able to get a good 50-50 off that and maybe get it towards their goal. Or, you could have kept rotating back into goal, maybe come off the backboard, and you might have been able to make a save. But I think if you started boosting a little bit earlier, and you flipped left, you had a fairly decent chance of saving this ball. Right, so in this situation, it's a little bit confusing. You've just come off sort of missing a ball. Zach's going for this. You're in a very awkward position here. You kind of let the ball go under you. Stone's clearly going to try and boom this, so you need to turn a lot earlier, and you also need to try and turn left. So you end up doing a back post rotation, which will prevent you from running into Zach, and will probably save you a lot of time in getting back. Right, so in this kickoff, your teammate takes it, the ball bounces up a little bit weirdly. You don't read this ball very well. I don't really blame you, these balls off the ceiling aren't that easy to read, but even if it didn't hit the ceiling, it probably would have gone past you anyway. So I reckon the best thing for you to do here is, you see the ball has flown up a lot, go back, turn left here, go onto the wall or the backboard or the corner wall, and then you can wait for the ball and then make a play off it based off where it goes, instead of sort of driving under it and then having to reverse and make a weird play. You did deal with it quite well after messing it up, so I'll give you credit where credit's due, but you probably would have been able to deal with that situation a little bit better. So in this situation, you sort of panicked a little bit. You had a lot of time. Raised by Wolves is out over there. He's over there. One of the opponents left at some point, I don't know. But you have a lot of time here. There was really no need for you to jump. Your teammate has just... You see him start to come back, but he turns back up. So he's clearly expecting a pass or something. So I think if you just waited for the ball to land and then tried to boom it way up the pitch, he could have maybe taken it. Or you could have taken the ball in your nose and gone for a dribble the front of your car. So yeah, you didn't make a very efficient play here. Your teammate sort of panics because your opponent is bearing down on you, so you definitely could have taken your time there and made a better play. Alright, next. This isn't your ball. I'm not entirely sure why you're going for it, but Trigger Happy's coming up. If you looked with your left analog stick, he's still got a lot of time, so there really was no need to go for this ball. You just sort of pushed it away from him, got yourself bumped, caused a lot of confusion. You sort of disregard your teammates. Like, he clearly wants to push up and make a play on it. Even if you think that you can come off the wall, because I know that's probably what you're trying to do, you want to come off a wall here and do something. Even if you think that's a better play to make, by going for this, because your teammate has already sort of committed to booming this up the field, by going for this, all you're doing is sort of creating confusion and chaos. You hit the ball, your teammate doesn't, he bumps you instead. Zach is sort of left to... And then you do it again here. Zach picks it up, he takes control. And he's controlled it quite well, he's going to try and make a play off the wall. And you go for the boost and smack him. For no reason, you still have 50 boost here. So again, you could have turned back and got boost pads, or maybe turned left and gone up the field and collected boost pads. There was no reason to turn here and bump your teammate again. So that's definitely something to be careful of. Right, so here, this is a little bit... It's not entirely your fault, it's... It does seem kind of obvious to go for this ball, seeing as you're the one coming out of net. But one thing to watch out for is your teammates' sort of body language, if that makes sense. He's sitting on the wall, he's trying to match the ball's height, he's slowing down to match his speed with the ball. So he's clearly considering coming off this wall here. So you need to look out for signs from your teammates that they might want to go for the ball. And there's also a few reasons why your teammates' play would have been better than your play here. both of the opponents have gone back. You've got a fair amount of time here, and by hitting this, you're essentially giving it away for your opponents. If you hit this, you would have given it away for your opponents. But since it's a 2v3 at the moment, and there's nobody in that corner over there, your teammate's play of hitting it in that direction is actually quite a lot more viable than yours and hitting it in this direction. Because now, Trigger Happy can pick it up, Zach can pick it up, or you, if you'd stayed in goal, could have turned around and picked it up. Although I would have left it for Zach. Not entirely your fault here, but I think it's good to look out for your teammates, see who would be best to go for the ball, see if your teammate looks like he wants to go for the ball. And here, I think maybe your intention here was to try and hit it down to Zach, so he could make a play on it off the wall, which is what he tries to do. But you have to remember that this is, what, Diamond 3? You've got mechanically skilled players, you've also got players who are incredibly inconsistent on the wall. I really wouldn't have relied on your teammate to make a play off this. I think it would have been better for you to come from under this ball, and so sort of keep driving horizontally along the wall, and then come up on the ball vertically. This would allow you to hit the ball a lot higher, probably a lot harder, get it over raised by wolves, maybe get it over stone. But instead this hit is sort of, you're giving it away to your opponents again. This is very easy for wolves to follow up on. And in this situation, you've sort of, by giving it to them, you've left yourself in a bad position. Zach misses it. Here, I think it would have just been best if you just kept going back and let your teammate go, because if we look from his perspective, he's clearly trying to read this ball off the wall. He does it quite well. This is a very easy ball for him to pick up on. He would have got it past stone and up the field for a counter attack. So I think if you just kept going back into goal, you would have saved confusion. You would have, because here he sees that you're cutting in front of him, and he's worried you're going to bump him. So he tries to turn left a little bit so that he can avoid you and jump for this ball. But turning left meant that he couldn't get an efficient jump and he doesn't beat your opponent to the ball. So would have been a lot better if you rotated back behind him and let your teammate go. Right, okay. There is literally no reason for you to rotate back this way. Your teammate is in goal, he's got time, he can make a play off this ball. And then you come flying in and you try to go for this ball for some strange reason, you bump him. I feel like the only plausible reason for going back this way is to pick up the corner boost, but you had 100 boost. So there's really literally no reason to go back this way. So instead, follow your other teammate Zach back to the back post, let your teammate pick this up. You don't even have to go all the way around to the back post. Literally just go behind your teammate around the right instead of around the left. Because there's no reason for you to go for this. You don't need this ball, you don't need the boost. Trigger Happy has a much better hit on this ball. So rotate the other way, rotate right around him. And don't get in his way, basically. Okay, this isn't the first time you've sort of missed an aerial ball like this. I understand you might have been lagging or something, I don't know, but just in case you're not, let's look at the way you go up for this and try and fix it, right? The double jump is extremely quick. It's almost as if you only did one double jump. So it's a very, very inefficient double jump aerial. I'm just going to duck out this replay really quickly. I remember the time, 120. So there's a big difference between what you did in that situation and what high level players can do. You sort of did this. Not even that. It was very inefficient. You probably would have used a lot of boost. You didn't get height very quickly. What you need to do, because remember, the longer you hold jump, the higher you can go, right? So hold jump, boost, hold jump again, and look how fast you can go up for that. Just remember, you can do much more efficient aerials like that. Just remember that for the future. I think that'll help you with some of those, getting more efficient aerials, using up a little bit less boost. And again here, you're essentially last man back. So your teammates just got demoed, the other one's just rotating behind you. Your teammates are relying on you to hit this ball, so you can't miss this, you need to hit this. So improving those fast, efficient aerials is going to be a lot better for you. And of course your miss does pretty much directly result in a goal. So you need to be careful on that. So in this situation, a very quick thing to think about. You made a nice dribble play here and scored it, so credit for you for that. But just keep in mind here the pass opportunity. Trigger happy is on the left, you had the ball on the left of you. So you just need, sometimes just keep in mind that you have teammates, you had the pass opportunity, and you could have maybe left it for him to take a power shot. But credit to you, that was a decent dribble play, so I won't make a big deal out of that. This play here, you don't really know what's happening here, so you don't really know whether the ball's going to bounce, so you go back. I completely understand that, but now you do. The ball's going to hit the ground and it's going to bounce back up, so Stone was definitely going to try and go for it, and he does. So either you need to read this ball, this bounce, and go up for it earlier, because a pro or a grand champ or a high level player, probably as soon as they saw the bounce, like here pretty much, they would have turned or maybe jumped up for a backwards aerial, because they know where this ball is going to bounce after it hits the ground. But you only turn after the ball bounces, and that gives Stone a lot of time to read the ball, and you end up sort of in a very awkward position in a 1v1. I would have kept going back into goal there instead of reversing and jumping. I don't really know what's going on here, but just try and read that a lot earlier, go up for it earlier, or keep going back so you can put yourself in a good position to save a shot. There's not actually much to talk about other than in this replay, other than what I have. You could have made a better play on that. I would have kept going back here because your teammate was already pushing up, so keep going back or going to the middle. But and then you score a couple of goals. I'm assuming one of them is a kick-off goal, and you bring yourself back in the game. So good job there. But I hope you found this replay analysis helpful. There was definitely a lot to talk about there. You have your pros. I can see you trying to be fast sometimes. You're trying to make sure you don't give away possession, which sort of sounds counterintuitive because you gave away possession a lot of time. But you're always trying to make sure someone is on the ball, which I kind of like. Jesus Christ, why is my game lagging so much? But you also have your flaws. You disregard your teammates a lot. You need to remember that you do have teammates and they do muck up sometimes. But you just have to be aware of them and try not to cause confusion and chaos. Because a lot of times there you sort of disregarded your teammates and caused them to bump into you or you to bump into them, which caused a huge delay in recovery time. So work on your teammate awareness, because that is probably your biggest flaw, I think. And also your aerial consistency, so keep in mind the faster, more efficient aerials that I was talking about. So these as opposed to these. There's a very subtle difference, but that difference is what made you miss that ball that I was talking about. So I hope this replay analysis was helpful for you and anyone else who is watching. Join my Discord server if you want your replay analysed. And yeah, that'll be it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next video.